Two coworkers get the same raise. $600 more every month. Same company, same city, same starting point. The first one opens the email, sees the new salary, and feels something loosen in his chest. Finally, a little room, a little breathing space. A little proof that all those late nights were not completely wasted. By the end of the week, nothing dramatic has happened. No sports car. No luxury watch. No ridiculous shopping spree. Just a slightly nicer apartment search. One extra streaming bundle. Delivery instead of cooking on tired nights. A gym membership that feels more serious. A weekend trip that used to feel irresponsible, but now feels deserved. None of it looks reckless. That is the danger. The second coworker opens the same email. Same raise. Same $600 a month. But before the first bigger paycheck even arrives, she changes one thing. $300 goes automatically to investing and savings. $150 goes toward debt. $100 goes into a cash buffer. $50 stays for guilt-free spending. 1 year later, both people made more money. Only one of them became richer. That is the part most people miss. Practice: a raise does not automatically improve your financial life. A raise only gives you a chance to choose what kind of system gets stronger. If your system is strong, the raise builds freedom. If your system is weak, the raise disappears into a more expensive version of the same stress. This is what I call the raise leak. It is not the big dramatic mistake people imagine. It is not one insane purchase. It is not one vacation. It is not one dinner. It is the slow disappearance of extra income into a lifestyle that adjusts faster than your future can catch up. And the reason it is so hard to notice is simple. A raise feels like progress, so the spending that follows feels like permission. This is not personal financial advice. I do not know your income, your debt, your family situation, your city, or what your life costs each month. But if you have ever gotten a raise, a bonus, a better job, or a higher paycheck, and somehow your bank account still looked the same 3 months later, this is for you. Because the problem might not be that you failed to earn enough. The problem might be that the new money arrived before you had a plan for it. And money without a plan is easy to absorb. That is what lifestyle inflation really is. Not always a flashy upgrade, not always a designer bag or a luxury car. Most of the time, lifestyle inflation is quieter. It is the $15 lunch becoming a $24 lunch. It is the old apartment becoming unacceptable the moment your income rises. It is the car that still works, suddenly feeling embarrassing. It is the normal gym becoming the premium gym. It is delivery going from occasional help to the default setting. It is buying time, comfort, convenience, and identity in small monthly pieces. The first month, it feels harmless. The second month, it feels normal. By the 6th month, it feels like your life simply costs more now. That is the new normal tax. The moment a better lifestyle becomes your baseline, the raise is no longer extra money. It becomes money required to maintain the new version of normal. And once something becomes normal, cutting it feels like losing ground. That is why raises can be so dangerous. They do not just give you more cash. They give your expectations permission to grow. And expectations are expensive. Think about what happens when you get an extra $600 a month. At first, that number feels big. $600 sounds like progress. $7,200 a year sounds like real money. But then the raise starts getting divided by feelings. $200 more for a better apartment because you are tired of the old place. $160 more for restaurants and delivery because your schedule is stressful. $80 more for subscriptions, apps, and small comforts you barely notice. $90 more for car costs, insurance, parking, or rides. $70 more for random spending because you finally feel like you can stop saying no to everything. And just like that, the $600 is gone. No single choice looks crazy, but the raise has been fully hired by your lifestyle. It now has a job. It works for the landlord. It works for the restaurant app. It works for the car. It works for the subscription companies. It works for everyone except your future. That is why people can double their income and still feel like they are standing in the same place. Their life did not get lighter. It got heavier with better packaging. Now compare that with a different system. Same $600 raise. Before the first bigger paycheck arrives, half of it gets captured. $300 goes to your future before you can rename it as comfort. Maybe it goes into a retirement account. Maybe it goes into a brokerage account. Maybe it goes into a high-yield savings account while you build stability. Another $150 goes toward the highest interest debt. Another $100 goes into an emergency buffer. $50 stays in your life for enjoyment, not punishment. Not guilt, not pretending you are a machine, just a controlled upgrade. After 1 year, this person has moved $3,600 toward the future, paid down $1,800 of debt, added $1,200 of cash protection, and still enjoyed $600 without guilt. That is before investment growth, before avoided interest, before the emotional benefit of finally seeing progress. Facts: same raise, same 12 months, completely different direction. The raise did not create the difference. The system did. This is why earning more money is not enough. More money only magnifies the pattern that already exists. If the pattern is leaking, more income creates a bigger leak. If the pattern is organized, more income creates faster progress. That sounds simple, but emotionally it is hard. Because when you get a raise, you do not feel like a spreadsheet. You feel tired. You feel proud. You feel like you finally deserve something. And to be honest, you probably do. After years of working, commuting, dealing with pressure, answering messages, staying late, waking up early, and watching prices rise, wanting your life to feel easier is not irrational. It is human. That is why this is not about shaming yourself for enjoying money. The goal is not to turn every raise into a punishment. The goal is to stop your lifestyle from swallowing the raise before it actually changes your life. There is a difference between enjoying part of your raise and surrendering all of it. One gives you a better life. The other gives you a more expensive routine. The trap is that you usually do not surrender the whole raise at once. You surrender it in pieces. A little comfort here, a little convenience there. A small recurring charge, a slightly bigger monthly payment, a decision that feels temporary, a new standard you never consciously approved. Then one day you look at your paycheck and realize the raise is technically still there, but it is already spoken for. This is the same thing that happens to bonuses. It happens to tax refunds. It happens to overtime. It happens to commission checks. It happens to new jobs. Extra money arrives, and because it does not have a job yet, the world gives it one. That is one of the most important rules of personal finance. If your money has no assignment before it arrives, someone else will assign it for you. The landlord will. The car dealer will. The app will. The algorithm will. The friend group will. The version of you that is tired at 9:30 p.m. will. The future does not usually get paid by accident. It gets paid when you protect it first. This is where a lot of people make the wrong calculation. They think, once I earn more, I will save more. But that sentence is missing something. A system. Without a system, earning more just gives your habits more space to expand. And habits are very good at expansion. Spending expands to fill income the way clutter expands to fill a garage. If there is room, something will occupy it. That is why the best time to decide what to do with a raise is before you feel it. Before the first bigger paycheck hits. Before the new number becomes normal, before your brain starts building a life around it. Once the money has been in your checking account for a few months, it becomes harder to redirect. You are no longer cutting a future raise. You are cutting your current lifestyle. Those feel completely different. Redirecting money before it becomes normal feels like planning. Redirecting it after it becomes normal feels like sacrifice. That is why timing matters. The first 72 hours after you learn about a raise are more important than most people realize. Not because you need to do something complicated, but because you need to decide who gets the money before the old system claims it. So here is the 72-hour raise rule. When you find out your income is going up, do not upgrade anything for 72 hours. No new apartment search. No car browsing. No new subscription bundle. No just looking at furniture. No deciding that now is finally the time to make your lifestyle match your income. For 3 days, do nothing except direct the money. First, calculate the monthly increase after taxes. Not the gross raise, not the exciting number in the email. The actual amount that will show up in your paycheck. If your salary went up by $10,000 a year, you are not getting $10,000 of lifestyle. After taxes and deductions, maybe the monthly number is $500, maybe $600, maybe less. Use the real number. Second, capture at least half before it touches your daily life. If the raise gives you $600 more per month, capture $300. If it gives you $400, capture $200. If you are behind or carrying high-interest debt, capture more if you can. The point is not that 50% is magic. The point is that some meaningful part of the raise must belong to your future before your lifestyle sees it. Third, split the captured money by need. If you have no cash buffer, part goes there. If you have credit card debt, part goes there. If your retirement savings are weak, part goes there. If you already have stability, part can go toward investing. The exact split depends on your life. But the raise should not enter your checking account as one vague pile of extra money. Vague money disappears. Assigned money builds. Fourth, Give yourself a small intentional upgrade. This part matters more than people think. If you capture every dollar and allow yourself nothing, the system may feel like a punishment. Then eventually you rebel against it. So give part of the raise to present you, just not all of it. Maybe $50 a month. Maybe one nice dinner. Maybe one hobby. Maybe one thing that genuinely improves your life. The difference is that you chose it after protecting the future. Not before. That order is everything. Fifth, wait 90 days before adding any new fixed expense. This is the lifestyle upgrade test. A fixed expense is dangerous because it does not ask again next month. Once you add it, it keeps coming. Bigger rent, car payment, premium membership, subscription, private lessons, plan, a nicer phone plan. Monthly payment plans. These are not one-time choices. They are future paycheck claims. So before you attach your raise to something recurring, wait 90 days. Let the new paycheck arrive. Let the automatic savings happen. Let the debt payment happen. Let the buffer grow. Then see how much room is actually left. If the upgrade still makes sense after 90 days, maybe it is real. If it only made sense in the emotional rush of getting the raise, you just saved yourself from a very expensive version of normal. This is how you keep a raise from leaking. You do not need to be extreme. You do not need to live like nothing changed. You just need to stop the raise from becoming invisible, because invisible raises are everywhere. Someone gets promoted and still feels broke. Someone switches jobs and still carries the same credit card balance. Someone finally crosses 6 figures and still checks their account before rent. Someone doubles their income over 10 years and has almost nothing invested. It is not always because they are foolish. Often, it is because every raise got absorbed before it was ever directed. The raise did not disappear. It became furniture. It became rent. It became delivery. It became a car. It became a vacation payment. It became a nicer version of a life that still has no margin. That is the brutal thing about lifestyle inflation. It does not feel like inflation while it is happening. It feels like finally living better. And sometimes you are living better. But the question is not whether the upgrade is enjoyable. The question is whether the upgrade is worth the future it replaces. That is the part most people never calculate. A $600 raise captured at 50% means $300 a month to your future. That is $3,600 a year. 10 years of that is $36,000 before growth. 20 years is $72,000 before growth. And if some of it is invested, the number can become much larger over time. But if the whole raise disappears into monthly spending, the result after 10 years is not $36,000. It is not $72,000. It is a lifestyle that now costs $600 more per month to maintain. That is the trade. Future options or current baseline, assets or obligations, breathing room or a nicer cage. And the strange thing is that the outside world may reward the wrong choice. People notice the new car, they notice the better apartment, they notice the nicer trips, they notice the upgraded lifestyle. Nobody notices the automatic transfer. Nobody compliments the higher savings rate. Nobody claps because your credit card balance fell. Nobody sees the future flexibility you quietly bought. This is why building wealth can feel socially invisible. The best decisions often do not photograph well, but they show up later. They show up when an emergency does not become a crisis. They show up when a job gets toxic and you have enough savings to leave. They show up when the market drops and you do not have to sell. They show up when you can say no to overtime. They show up when the raise you got 5 years ago is still working for you instead of being buried inside a lifestyle you barely notice anymore. That is the real purpose of a raise. Not to prove you earned comfort. You did earn comfort, but also to create a gap between what comes in and what goes out. That gap is where wealth starts. If every raise closes the gap by increasing spending, your income can rise for years without your freedom moving at all. But if every raise widens the gap even slightly, your money starts changing direction. That is when progress becomes real, not loud, not flashy, real. So the next time your income goes up, do not ask only, what can I afford now? Ask, what part of this raise will my future actually keep? That question changes everything, because a raise is not just more money, it is a test of your system. If the system is missing, the raise leaks. If the system is ready, the raise becomes proof that your future is finally getting paid too. One coworker got $600 more per month and bought a more comfortable version of the same stress. The other got $600 more per month and bought options. 1 year later, both earned more. Only one had evidence. That is what you want, evidence. A lower balance, a bigger buffer, a growing account, a savings rate that moved up with income, a paycheck that finally started building something instead of only maintaining something. A raise does not make you richer automatically. It reveals whether your money has a place to go. So before the next raise becomes normal, give it a direction. Capture part of it. Enjoy part of it. Protect part of it. And do it before the world gives it another job, because if you spend it before you direct it, it disappears. But if you direct it before you spend it, that raise can become the first real sign that your financial life is finally changing. Don't crash your money. Learn how to guide it.